What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy LT, and we are going to be going over Gotham Knights, the final preview that was just posted by IGN. I unfortunately did not get a chance to be one of the lucky few to have tried the developer version, if you lack of a better word, for the game. However, we will be going over one of the reviews that are kind of getting some mixed opinions for, just because some people are saying that Gotham Knights is up here and one of like the best games of all time, and other people are saying that it's utter garbage, poo poo, um, dookie. So in that sense, I'm going to look at this review and I'm going to say my opinions on it throughout the video and maybe a little bit after. Okay, so let's get started. Right, let's get started. Let me see here. Oh nope. Okay. Here it is. All right, y'all ready?
Over the course of our month-long IGN First coverage, we saw a lot about the world
Mental
and lore of Gotham
Salsman.
Knights, the crafting and gear mechanics, the suits and customization options, but there's been one green Riddler-esque question mark surrounding the whole game up to this point. How does it play? Well, I played about 3 hours of it at a recent hands-on event, and the answer is, well, it's complicated. What's for certain, at least, is that Gotham Knights is a wildly ambitious effort that feels appropriately massive and dense, to the point where even a heavily guided 3-hour demo felt like just a scratch on the surface.
All right, I like where he's going with it right now. Um, him saying that it's just a scratch on the surface makes me kind of think that there was more to be desired. That he or in a better way of putting it, what he was able to play, he wanted more. You know, like there was an itch that he just couldn't just scratch. He wanted to scratch the full itch. Feel me? All right, let's continue.
My demo was broken up into 4 chunks. I played the tutorial that involved following a lead on Batman's last case, then jumped into a new save to play the first chapter of Harley Quinn's multi-part villain arc, then continued with several open world challenges related to Harley's story, and to put a cap on the event, I jumped into a late game save that let me and the internet's own Destin Legary face off against Harley in the finale of her arc. And that leads to one of the main reasons why my takeaways from this event are complicated. Gotham Knights is a game that is centered around building up your character, setting and understanding your own skills and gear, and developing your own playstyle. Something that I just didn't really get to do, since I was jumping around to different save files and trying out the different characters. Without that feeling of building up my own character and progressing through their skill tree, combat felt like it was missing a key ingredient. On a very basic level, Gotham Knights combat is built on the foundation of the Batman Arkham games. But once you get past the shallow waters, things go in very different directions. Here's where things will be familiar.
I'm kind of confused by what he says by that. He said that the combat is basically hindered on how you build your character, right? But if you're gonna be a reviewer and you need to um make unbiased reviews, that goes with not creating your own character in a sense. Like he shouldn't need to build his player from the ground up for him to make an unbiased review on how the combat feels. The combat shouldn't have anything to do with how he personally builds his character. He should base the combat on how the combat feels. Or am I wrong? If I'm wrong, then that's fine. But I personally think, as a reviewer, that he should be thinking on more on the combat moveset, and not on how he would personally build his character.
You press the direction and the attack button, and your character gracefully spins, leaps, or slides towards the closest enemy for a quick strike that initiates a combo. Enemies will also telegraph their own attack with an icon that appears over them, giving you plenty of time to dodge out of the way to
Okay.
avoid damage. It's all super smooth, there are a ton of slick animations, and you're even rewarded for timing your button presses as opposed to just button mashing.
So that's great because I know a lot of people were having concerns that because they don't have the counter from Arkham Knight or from the Arkham games, that it's going to feel a little floaty, a little dodgy um when fighting enemy to enemy. It's not going to feel as fluid. And with the dodge mechanic, saying that there is a certain type of like countering system where you can see somebody's about to hit you and then you do like a perfect dodge and you get right back in your combat, that's a good way of kind of differentiating, Jesus Christ, differentiating yourself from the Arkham games.
Just like in the Arkham games.
So that's good to hear.
And that's it. That's where the comparisons end, because everything else feels very different. Gotham Knights is much more abilities focused, with a meter at the bottom right that governs your ability to use your momentum skills. As you'd imagine, you gain meter by dealing damage and using your dodge to avoid attacks with good timing. Once you fill a bar, you can use one of your 8 equipable momentum skills for a variety of different uses. Red Hood has a close range throw that deals a ton of damage to a single target. Robin has a holographic distraction that he can throw down to take some heat off of him and the team. Batgirl can toss out a Batarang barrage to deal a bunch of piercing damage right in front of her. And Nightwing has a cool acrobatic leap attack that lets him get the jump on an enemy from far away. There were also
so everyone has like a different vibe.
Abilities were the key to defeating specific enemy types that were armed with powerful armored attacks. Piercing abilities beat armored attacks, for instance, so anytime I saw an enemy with a red attack warning, I had to counter with my own piercing attack, whether that was Batgirl's Batarang Barrage or Robin's Staff Spin attack. All of this sounds great, and I'm very much looking forward to the progression of getting to unlock new momentum abilities, purchase skills that synergize
you get to unlock new ones,
craft new pieces of gear.
I'm actually happy about that, because at first when I saw Nightwing's ground blast with the screamer sticks, I was a little bit like, is that all he got? The more I see of this, the more I'm realizing that Gotham Knights is kind of, or basically higher up, WB Games Montreal, they're holding a lot from you, right? At first you think what they're showing you is all that you're getting, but then with all these skill trees and skill points that you can spec into, there's no way that what they're showing you is all you're getting. And that's kind of nice for me, because Nightwing is going to be my first playthrough, so it's just nice that the momentum ability, that's obviously going to be very important in the gameplay, is not what I'm stuck to.
Add mods that further enhance certain effects, and find a preferred playstyle for each of my characters when the game actually comes out. My concern is how well that progression, those momentum abilities, the gear, and the deep well of customization options are going to be able to carry the whole experience. Because, on a fundamental level, I found Gotham Knights combat to be very flashy, but also kind of bland. Fights quickly started to feel very routine, with very similar enemies in every encounter, to the point where I felt like I had to mix up my tactics, not because I was being forced to, but just to try to make things a little more interesting. My favorite
But you did only have 3 hours until,
because he excelled at a hybrid style of both range and melee, which felt quite different from what everyone else was able to do. Plus, he had some neat tricks, like being able to grab an enemy, place a bomb on them, and then kick them away so you can explode the bomb with a gunshot. The other characters have their fun surprises too. They all generally control the same, which makes jumping between them very easy.
You know what? No, I'm actually going to go back to it. He said that the enemies all felt similar, right? That there weren't any variety, but he did only have 3 hours into the game that he was able to play. We have no idea what other enemy types that we're going to be playing. There's still the Talons that we have to fight against. There's other villains who probably have gangs and of their own, and mobs who are probably going to be roaming the street, who could play differently. I don't know. I'm taking what he's saying with a grain of salt, I do, you know, if he feels that there's a lot of enemies that are similar, I get that, but I don't know. I just feel like with that criticism, you need a lot more play into the game to kind of make that something that he would include in a final review. You know what I mean? Um, but let's just keep going. It's
are
fine.
going to be able to carry the whole experience. Because, on a fundamental level, I found Gotham Knights combat to be very flashy, but also kind of bland. Fights quickly started to feel very routine, with very similar enemies in every encounter, to the point where I felt like I had to mix up my tactics, not because I was being forced to, but just to try to make things a little more interesting. My favorite character ended up being Red Hood because he excelled at a hybrid style of both range and melee, which felt quite different from what
He
everyone
does
else
seem
was
like the
able to
most
do.
versatile of the
Plus, he had
group
some
so
neat
far.
tricks, like being able to grab an enemy, place a bomb on them, and then kick them away so you can explode the bomb with a gunshot. The other characters have their fun surprises too. They all generally control the same, which makes jumping between them very easy, but they each have their own combat slash stealth focuses and playstyles that are defined by what you put points into on their skill tree. Batgirl can be built to be a single target DPS machine, or a nearly uninterruptible tank that can self revive, or a stealthy hacker that can make herself invisible to security cameras. Nightwing can build
So
himself
she's
to
kind of
enhance
like
his
the
jumping
support.
abilities and deal massive critical hit
Well,
damage. He can
not the
become a
support, but
slippery
she has
acrobat that
support
gets extra dodges and faster momentum
qualities.
meter gain, or he can be built more like a team leader designed for co-op play. Red Hood can lean more heavily into his range attacks by giving them higher crit chances and more damage. He can become more of a close range bruiser that aims to get in and grab his opponents, or he can increase the damage he deals towards various different
Just
factions of
standing in the
enemies.
fire.
And finally, Robin can build himself to have
Oh,
a
you
game
got
plan centered around
decoys?
his decoy. He can become a true Batman successor by
Really?
investing in stealth skills, including Arkham game mainstays like Vantage takedowns, or he can focus on gadgetry and elemental damage.
Y'all ever play Borderlands 2? If you have, you know exactly who Robin is reminding me of right now.
Just by glancing at the skill tree, it's easy to see that there's a lot to get excited about for each character every time you gain skill points. And that's where I'm torn on Gotham Knights. When I look at the skill trees, the locked momentum abilities, the wide variety of suits that I can unlock, and I think about going through it all with a buddy and taking on more challenging missions, I can't help but get excited at the idea of what Gotham Knights could be. But in my playtime with this demo, things were very far off from that idealized version. Beyond combat, Gotham Knights is very impressive. The city of Gotham is absolutely gorgeous. The many different modes of traversal are all fun in their own way, whether that's by motorcycle, Batgirl's glide, Nightwing's glider, Red Hood's mystical air hops, or Robin's short range teleportation. The Belfry seems like an awesome headquarters full of optional conversations that deepen the relationships between the four heroes. And you can even play Spy Hunter.
Oh, what? What?
And the cooperative play feels extremely well implemented.
Spy Hunter, really?
Since the demo was so focused on the Harley Quinn subplot, I didn't get much of a feel for the overall story of Gotham
That's an
Knights
interesting
and
choice.
how the Court of Owls fits into everything, but I'm very into what I've seen of the characters so far. There are great dynamics between each of them, with the standout for me being between Red Hood and Nightwing. Nightwing's trying his best to step into the role of a leader, while Red Hood finds himself struggling between his thirst for violence and his desire to honor the legacy of Batman. There's a great scene in the Belfry where Nightwing inadvertently touches a nerve by bringing up a story that sets Jason off. And you really get to see the pain
That's always
and
gonna
anger
happen.
that Red Hood is struggling to keep under the surface.
I don't know what's worse. Having a chunk of my life taken away from me, or coming back to everyone thinking I'm gonna snap.
I'm sorry, Jason. We shouldn't have... I shouldn't have treated you like an outsider.
It's very Guardians of the Galaxy-esque, and if Gotham Knights can pack the whole game with moments like this, then its characters will almost certainly become a highlight of the whole experience. Also, just so you know, this whole fight in the prison, it's set to a punk rock version of Livin' La Vida Loca.
I know so many people who has an issue with this version of La Vida Loca in this whole fight scene, and I just do not understand it. Um, from my knowledge, this is, I mean, this is what I've heard. I don't know if it's true, but It's like a Harley Quinn mission, and she is playing La Vida Loca while your character is beating ass in a prison courtyard. Like, what's to hate about this scene? Like, I don't understand. Uh, People are just I don't know. People are just so far up their own asses that they don't understand that lightheartedness stuff like this is what is needed in a game about literally Batman dying and his children are trying to fill the void. I don't I don't I don't I don't get it.
So, you know, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's a
Gotham
great
Knights
thing.
is not an easy game to demo, and while I walked away from my hands-on time less than impressed with many aspects of combat, I still found myself interested in playing more. We'll see how it all comes together when Gotham Knights releases on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on October 21st.
Well, at least he ended it with him saying that he's looking forward to it, right? With all things said, even though he had some qualms about the game, he still was saying that, he would basically buy it if he had to. Um, so I don't know. I did like his review. I know I had a lot of criticisms about it. I kind of like played the devil's advocate. Um, but basically the I don't know. It nothing about this review made me go like, oh, it didn't make me sway from wanting to play the game, and it's just it's more of the case that I want to try it out myself. Like I'm not gonna really have. There's not really gonna be anything in the games like as from what I've seen so far that will make me not want to get the game until I try it myself. It's just the way it is. It's just how I am. I'm stubborn like that. I will be playing this game the night it comes out on the 21st, midnight. Probably on Twitch, not sure yet. But if you guys want to watch me, you can look at my links in the description. Okay? All right. All right, guys. Later.